from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
Concerns about the treatment of students with disabilities and segregation are popping up again for Fargo and West Fargo public schools. Today, staff members told area state lawmakers about plans to remodel Agassiz for students with behavioral issues.
The two districts presented their plans for Agassiz. Representative Kathy Hogan brought up concerns about segregating students based on their disabilities, an idea that has also been shared by local advocates. Senator Tim Mathern questioned funding for the project. Mathern asked if the $4 million budget would be better served in preventative services to keep troubled kids in the classroom. But there was also support among the legislators. Senator Judy Lee says when it comes to helping these kids as quickly as possible, the perfect cannot get in the way of the good. And Lee says the proposed program is good.
A large group of parents and advocates were at that meeting as well. Valley News Team's Veronica Marshall spoke with one mother who agrees with Senator Mathern. She says her son wouldn't have ended up at Agassiz if there were more supports in the schools.
In just a matter of months, Ashley Hofdahl's third grader went from this.
He had ASD, so he was on an IEP from a young age. We saw Mark have some interesting characteristics and just kind of some uniqueness.
To this.
He actually was diagnosed with PTSD because of what happened to him at his school. He was waking up in the middle of the night telling me that he had bad feelings and he thought he was going to die.
Hofdahl says after returning from break, her son Mark was transitioning to being back in the classroom, but staff had difficulty settling him back into the routine. She says staff used holds and seclusion to control her son. By March, Mark was selected for the Setting D program at Agassiz.
We went to an IEP meeting at his home school and essentially had the feeling that he was not welcome there, and this was the option for him.
The district says there's no set criteria for entrance into the program, but there will be procedures in place to make sure it's the right fit. If parents disagree with the placement, they can contact the IEP team or enter into mediation or due process. But Hofdahl says she's had difficulty contacting the district.
It took us 5 weeks to get our first meeting together with that school to just sit down and talk about what Mark was doing. At that meeting, we discovered that Mark wasn't doing that much as far as skill building or these therapies that they talked about or anything like that. So if we're talking about funding a pilot program that is operating like this, it's a huge mistake.
In Fargo, Veronica Marshall, Valley News Live.
Hofdahl also says the district isn't cooperating with parents as it claims. Since Mark has been at Agassiz, she says the district has not reached out to her once for feedback on the program.
Some parts of the valley saw below freezing temps last night, and that'll be the case again tonight. Let's find out from Robert what you can expect. Robert?
It won't be as cold as it was last night, but it will still be on the chilly side. Last night's temperatures into early this morning, in a word, crisp. As low as 23 degrees in Langdon, 25 in Cando and Devil's Lake, 30 here in Fargo, also 30 in Valley City and in Jamestown. We warmed up into the 40s and 50s, a cool evening across the region. Still a bit of a breeze, primarily out of the north and northeast, 5 to 15 miles per hour. Those winds become a little bit lighter overnight tonight, and then tomorrow we'll see those winds turn more easterly. A lot of cloud cover out there, and the clouds are actually going to help us from dropping off too low as we head through the overnight hours tonight. About 10 degrees warmer overnight tonight. Some rain showing up on the radar in the southern portions of the valley, but the vast majority of that is not reaching the ground. However, can't rule out an isolated sprinkle. After a cool day today, we start a nice warm up as we head into Mother's Day weekend, and we'll detail that in just a few minutes.
Okay, thanks, Robert.
A registered sex offender is making Fargo his new home, and police are alerting the community. 62-year-old Leslie Lundstedt is now living at 9 9th Street South, Unit 2. Lundstedt was convicted of window peeping in 2000 in Morton County. He was also convicted on 2 counts of window peeping in Montana, as well as for assault. All of his victims were females and included adults as well as children. He is a lifetime registrant.
North Dakota Highway Patrol troopers worked a lot of overtime in April to stop distracted drivers. During the You Drive, You Text, You Pay campaign, those added patrols issued 448 citations. 214 of them were for distracted driving, another 80 for other traffic citations, such as disobeying traffic signals and equipment violations, and 31 were for speeding. There were also dozens of people not wearing seatbelts, driving without insurance, or with a suspended license. The campaign also found 6 drug arrests.
More motorcyclists are expected to be on the roads. May is Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, designed to encourage all drivers and motorcyclists to share the road. In 2016, there were 5,286 motorcyclists killed in traffic crashes. That's a 5% increase from 2015. Those deaths accounted for 14% of all highway fatalities that year. North Dakota's Vision Zero campaign preaches safe riding practices and cooperation from all road users, and they say that will help the number of fatalities and injuries.
It remains to be seen how the fish cooperate on Saturday's fishing opener in Minnesota, but one thing is clear. With the ice having just left most lakes, the water will be cold, according to the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. And that means anyone who heads onto the water should take extra precautions to prevent their trip from turning into a disaster. Officials say falling into cold water causes an involuntary gasp and water inhalation. And even people who are strong swimmers can become incapacitated quickly. They say wearing a life jacket gives people a fighting chance if they fall into frigid water. More than 30% of all boating fatalities in Minnesota take place in cold water, and in nearly all instances, victims were not wearing life jackets.
Minnesota Governor Mark Dayton plans to join the 500,000 anglers expected to head out onto the lakes for the big fishing opener. Dayton will be hosting the state's 71st annual Governor's Fishing Opener on Green Lake in Spicer, Minnesota. Fishing generates an estimated $2.4 billion in direct retail sales annually in the state, supporting 35,000 jobs statewide. Minnesota has the second highest angler participation rate of any state in the nation at 32%.
North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum has signed an emergency order easing driving restrictions for truckers who haul dry ammonia fertilizer. North Dakota farmers are facing a shortage of fertilizer. That's because of significant late-season snowfall in other parts of the upper Midwest, which has delayed and shortened the spring planting season across the region. The North Dakota Farmers Union says a short-term waiver will guarantee farmers get the inputs they need to complete spring planting. It will remain in effect through the end of the month.
There's a new look for a program to help troubled youth in our community. The Home Builders Association teamed up with the Boys and Girls Ranch to remodel the Fargo Youth Home. The $80,000 project took 3 years and includes new cabinets, flooring, and appliances throughout the building. The Fargo Kiwanis Club chipped in another $5,500 for new beds and bedding. The youth home provides not only the basics of life, but also the counseling and other services that the young people need so they can return to their own homes.
This weekend, you can say, "I love you, Mom," with a homemade gift. A business called Make Room shared some unique gifts to Make Mom. You can give a personal touch to an oven-baked clay necklace by painting it with nail polish using Mom's favorite colors. Coffee filters with watercolored paint can be glued to paper and framed to make some modern art. This weekend, Make Room is letting your children make Mom a gift from 2 until 3 in the afternoon, and they can make 2 surprise items just for Mom. For more details, go to our website, valleynewslive.com, and click on our Hot button.
Homemade is always good.
It is, isn't it?
Later on Valley News Live at 6, check out the new ride for Fargo Police and find out how it's going to help youth in our community.
Up next, Democrats are pushing for lower prescription drug prices, and they're calling on the president to make it happen.